All right, good afternoon. Welcome back. Um, Ms. George,
Thank you.
we will proceed from where we stopped,
Okay.
and I will hand you over to Council. You were dealing with Council Diba, and now I think you're going to deal with somebody else. Or it's
Okay.
still the same committee, huh?
No problem.
Council Ka, over to you, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Welcome back, Ms. George.
Thank you.
I'm just reminding you that you're still under oath.
Sure.
We can now start or continue from where Council Deba stopped.
Okay.
So right before the break, the topic, you had already closed a topic with Council Deba, and the next topic was to do with the sales. We've talked about the sale of the vehicles and the tractors. Now it's the sale of cattle, which were part of the assets of the former president, um, preserved by the High Court
Right.
following an application made by the AG. Are you aware that there are High Court orders that froze the former president's accounts and also put different assets in the custody of different individuals or
Yes.
institutions?
Yes, I am aware. And
Okay.
then during one of the working sessions with the chairman took us through it as well.
Okay, so both orders, so you've seen them before?
Yes.
Okay, all right. If we need to look at the orders, I would just ask the Secretariat to avail you with a copy, but now,
Just to refresh my memory.
yes.
Small talk.
So my question now is with regards to the cattle is, like the other assets, the vehicles and the tractors, there was a point in time the information was received by the commission regarding the dissipation of the assets. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
Okay. And it's eventually the commission made an order that the cattle should be sold to avoid further dissipation.
That is true.
Yes. So how did that decision come about? Was this something that was just based on an application made by council and the chair made prepared an order, or an order was delivered, or was this something that was discussed between the commissioners?
Yeah, it was discussed because if I recall correctly, there was a lot of information about the cattle because the secretary would brief us, late council also would brief us on various things on that, and then the secretary was tasked for them to do with cattle, what's the right to do a stock take. I don't know if that's the right word to use, yes, but to do a stock take and then tag the assets as well. And they were to go around to the various locations to do this. And after the exercise, a report was prepared by the then secretary, which was shared. And then also with values also attached that I remember in the email sent with the document, it mentioned that is it, I can't remember the name. Is it Gilmer? I don't know.
Yes.
Livestock people.
Gilman.
Yes, they were also there with them when they went to do the valuation. They were the ones responsible for that. The then secretary did send a document to that effect.
And then after the visit for the tagging and you call it a stock take, I'd say an inventory of
Yes.
an inventory of the cattle.
Yes.
A decision was made for the cattle to be sold
Yes.
to avoid further issues arising.
Exactly.
And from the evidence submitted by the then secretary, Mr. Kurang, and following his testimony as well, he stated that initially the decision was for the commission itself, the secretariat and the personnel working there, to conduct the sale of the cattle
That is true.
until advertisement was done. But somehow, somewhere along the line, there was a halt in that decision. Can you just explain to this committee what caused the halt, but also the decision to defer, to go back to the High Court?
Um, that is very true what the then secretary said, because the intention was for the commission to be responsible for the cattle sales. That was the whole idea behind doing the inventory of that. But then it was quite interesting because for me, as far as we are concerned, we were not even aware that an application was being made for the registrar or excuse me with the legal terms. Yes. But practically what I'm trying to say is an application or something was being done for somebody else to handle it, because that came as a bit of a news to us, because we the commissioners were not aware of this going on, and it led to quite a debate going on, because we felt we are responsible for it. We are doing preparatory work, and then now another party is going to be doing it. So we felt it's like you're pulling the rug from under our feet. Yes.
You said there was a debate. So the debate, was it between the commissioners and the secretary, commissioners and council?
All of us.
All of it.
Yes.
All of you.
All of us, yes. All of
right.
us.
So was there a meeting held to discuss this issue, or
Yes, it was a meeting, because we got it via email.
email? The email was from who?
The email, because I remember the then secretary shared document. He used to keep us updated on what's going on.
Okay.
So he kept us informed, and we were quite surprised, because to me, I felt we're not aware of the change of plan. So we felt this cannot be, because we've already done the preparatory work. So we should now be going through to the sales. That's why I mentioned before we had developed processes to deal with sales that will cover the entire process. So when this happened, we felt there's something we don't quite understand. I know for me, I felt that way, because I felt there's something not clear to us why this was done. Yes.
Was it later clarified to you?
Well, the information that, this is something that was just brought to the commission's notice, that's what we got. But for me, I just felt there must have been some start of conversation somewhere.
Okay. When you say it was brought to the commission's notice, by who?
Well, because lead counsel did lead the discussion as well. She was, I won't say lead, maybe say focal. She explained that this is what she was notified of from the MOJ. But then based on, because I remember Mr. Kurang saying that, but no, something would have triggered, or this discussion was being held and we are not told, which I also felt there must have had some form of communication. MOJ would have come something because you cannot just come from the blues to make or go and apply for such an application, so we felt there's something that there was some gap that we just did not know of.
And in the conversation with lead counsel, did she mention that the order freezing the assets, particularly the cattle, or the order putting the cattle in the custody of Gilmer, needed to be set aside before the sale could take place?
I cannot recall.
Okay.
Yes.
So eventually, of course, we see that the AG had to go to the court to get the order set aside so that the sale can happen. Before the order was set aside, or even maybe before the sales, did the conversation continue so that the commission can come at an understanding and a consensus to hand over or defer to the office of the sheriff?
Because when that came about, the order, like, you have to excuse me, the legal terms. Yes. When they got an order for the sale to be done by the registrar.
The sheriff.
The sheriff, yes, sorry. The information we had, or the understanding, because when it came to legal terms, the chairperson would explain to us, break it down for us.
Okay.
And he said that the advice given was that since there's already an order, is to allow it to go ahead. Yes, so that was why we left it at that. But we felt, I know I particularly was not happy with it because I said it cannot be, because these are the things we have to be responsible for to report. And preparatory work had been done. So we just felt it was a bit of an interesting one.
Okay. And when the sales were about to take place, or when they were taking place, was the commission notified?
No, we didn't know anything about the cattle sales. To be honest, we had no information about what was being done, how it was being done. Because I know at some point we had said to the then secretary as well, you need to write to get a report submitted, which I cannot ever recall reading a report to that effect. Yes.
Okay. Is this the reason why in the final report of the commission on the investigations that cattle was not dealt with that much?
Yeah, we didn't have any information.
And the commission didn't try to obtain information from the court or from the attorney general regarding the sales. I mean, the assets were something that these were assets that were already being preserved. They were supposed to be investigated by the commission, and work had already commenced on these assets by the commission. So, shouldn't the commission have tried to find out more to be able to include this particular class of assets in its report?
Yeah, it is possible that maybe some work was done. I don't know, but I do know that one of the things we did say to the then secretary is you need to follow up with the sheriff's office, because they should be able to give you a report so we know what was generated or whatever, so we can include it in. But I know that it was not forthcoming. And I know then that even the new secretary, if I say new, the second secretary,
Yes.
was also tasked, because we didn't have any information to go by to put in the report. So, we just left it. That's what we came to, that conclusion that we can't report anything on that.
Okay. All right. That's fine. The next thing I want us to discuss is, like, I'm going to use the term the chair of the commission used when he was here, the Americans.
Okay. Okay.
The Americans. And in our investigations, we found that there are two groups.
Yes.
The first group being the forensic auditors or accountants,
FTI.
the FTI, that's the firm called FTI. And then the second group is the U.S. Department of State for Treasury. Please tell us which one of these groups came to the commission first.
FTI.
FTI came first.
Yes.
How did FTI come to the commission? How did the commission approach FTI? What was the process like?
What we were informed was that this, again, it was lead counsel giving us information because they dealt with her. Apparently, someone had recommended or contacted her regarding FTI, that they reached out to them, they wanted to help. Again, we got to know about it towards the latter part of the arrangements. That's when we knew about this, that they are coming. So we said, okay, but what do they want to come and do? Because we have to understand what they want to do and how to assist us. Because if it's forensic, I think to some extent we can do that locally. We already had accountants working with us. So then we started to see when they wrote their introductory or letter. They wrote several, I think 2 letters, that they're coming and they want people to work with them. So then we could really get to see what they wanted to do. And their key focus or main focus they wanted to do was GAM Petroleum and NAWEC. So those were the 2 accounts that they looked at.
Okay, so several things, but I will just go to where you've just stopped. Or rather, let me just ask, did lead counsel tell you the purpose of the visit? You said the FTI did send 2 letters, but what was the purpose of the visit? Was it to help specifically for these 2 accounts, or was it to help the commission as a whole in analyzing the different financial statements that, of course, I know that the commission received In abundance.
Yes, the letter did not specifically say those two companies.
Okay.
What they said was they wanted to assist the commission. But then I guess based on the investigative work, they felt that those are the two accounts that they wanted to narrow down to look at. Because those are the only two they submitted reports for draft, and that was draft reports.
So you never received the final report.
I've never seen a final report of those two.
Did you ever ask? Did the commission ever try to ask for the final report?
Yeah, because when you read the draft, they put it there that there was a lot of information outstanding that they could not get. But that was it. It was only a draft I ever saw for FTI, because I remember even I had to go back to, because we were so constrained. So it's got to the point where even commissioners now had to get their hands dirty and go into work, which I had to even look at NAWEC as well as GAM Petroleum again to look at certain portions as well of it.
Okay. You didn't mention that you already had accountants in the commission helping with the work, and that if a forensic analysis was needed, it could have been done local. Was this something that was raised, especially considering your background, your academic background and professional background as well? Was this something that you raised with the chair or in a meeting with maybe lead counsel with regards to whether there was really a need to have foreign accountants or foreign auditors come to help with the work when perhaps maybe if push came to shove, for a local firm can be hired to assist the commission?
Yes, we did talk about it, and even before I even mentioned anything, Mr. Kurang took it out of my mouth. What I mean is, he said it first before when we were having the discussion. So it came up because I said, one has to be mindful with these type of things, because I felt, is it just looking at financial statements or what is the scope of work? But then they were asking for legal assistance as well. So I don't know whether they did other work, but as far as I know, the only two reports that they ever submitted was those two.
For NAWEC and GAM Petroleum. And when these reports were submitted, were they eventually questioned, or did you have any questions with regards to why they focused on these two?
Yeah, because based on the feedback from lead counsel, was because those two accounts were complicated. Okay. So she felt that they could just focus on those, direct their attention to those two. And then because I said, I remember one of the things was I said, because they're here, they've spent some time here. For me, if you're giving me a report, it should be conclusive to a large extent. But if you're having to go back to do quite a bit of work on it, then there's a bit of an issue. So, but then in terms of communicating with them afterwards, because I think we only met them once and then they were gone. I think they were on ground for, I think, a few weeks or something like that.
So even after they submitted the draft report, it was not something that they was brought to the commissioners to sit and discuss with them?
No, because it was shared. So we went through. And then when you read the report, you can tell that, they said they didn't have this information. You cannot conclude. It's inconclusive to a large extent. Yes. So you don't have the information so that's why we had to go back. And I say this because I had to sit down on NAWEC again. Because there are times when I'd work till 3 a.m., 4 a.m., because you have to finish to be able to conclude. So I do admit there are times when I was frustrated, but these are the challenges. We were just focused on getting it done.
When you had mentioned that at some point the commissioners had to get their hands dirty and get into the work, was this towards the end? Was this during the middle of work?
Yes, I think initially when we started doing towards the middle, because then we realized even writing the volumes, we realized that we had to do it. So then it became, because the understanding I have is that it should be done by the secretariat. But then obviously we knew that our secretariat was limited. So limited in the sense that they cannot generate this is just me being honest, they will not be able to generate such a report.
Okay.
So we had to get our hands dirty in that. And then another option that someone said was in other countries, usually they get report writers. So we didn't know. So we were floating with that. We thought that that is what was going to happen, only to realize that it is not. So then now we had to write, like the volumes were split into your area of expertise
Okay.
to write. And then we realized that some of the SOEs accounts were not analyzed because we were overwhelmed, to be honest. And we had accountants too that came and left because it was too much. So getting a replacement too proved difficult.
But why did the accountants leave?
Some, it took too long. Some said, you realize the depth of what you have to do. So, but we had some that really stuck with us. To conclude. But then, like I said, I had to do a lot of work as well because of my background.
Okay.
But then the reports were shared.
Did finances ever contribute to why some of the accountants left, or perhaps like payments, delay in payments?
No, they used to submit their payments directly to the accountant general.
Okay.
I don't think they were paid on time. But I think they were generally okay with, because we all know that.
Okay.
Yes, when dealing with government, yes.
So you said that you only can remember having one meeting with FTI. Was this the introductory meeting, or
It
what
was
this meeting about?
Yes, it was introductory, just to introduce themselves, because we didn't really sit down to, excuse me. Yes, so we did not really go through the report with them because it was just shared after they had gone. That's when they sent the report.
So when they were leaving, you did not even know that.
Yes, we did not. They were not dealing with us. Yes, they mainly worked more with the legal team. They had their own office, which was given to them, so they would deal with them. But maybe the secretary then, I don't know. But in terms of the commissioners, we did not really deal with them much. So when they went in, that's when they shared the report by email.
Okay.
Yes.
And at what time did they come to the commission? Was this in the early stages?
I think it was in 2018, but early part.
Early part of 2018.
If I recall correctly, yes. I know the document. I think I was able to find
Yes.
from my email. I went to cloud. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on to the Department of State for Treasury. What was the arrangement like for them to visit the commission or come to the commission? Were they invited by the commissioners, or did they come through the government?
Yes. So for that one, based on, again, the email trails where we got in, copied, what we saw was that I think communication had started with the lead counsel.
Okay.
So we saw where it was building and building. I think they had requested for assistance, and then based on the response from I think the then High Commissioner or something, explaining that they were willing to assist and so on. So we could see the email trails from that, and that they were coming. But obviously, I think one knows that it's not just to scan documents. Yes. So they came, we met with them, I think twice. Yes, we met with them twice. Yes.
And when you had meetings, what was it about? Was it introductory?
Yes. The initial one was an introductory one.
Okay.
And after the meeting with them, we, the commissioners, wrote a memo, internal memo to lead counsel, explaining that since they're here, there should be a work plan or aid memoir. We're setting out what the objective of the exercise is. So we did request for that because we had our own working office. We didn't wait for the secretary to do things for us. So we did that and forwarded by the secretary. And then we wanted to know what they were there for. And the response we got was that they're there for scanning of documents to help to preserve the information. That was the objective of the exercise.
Okay, so they were to come and help preserve documents.
Yes.
For the
evidence.
government.
Yes.
And you mentioned scanning, so they brought a scanner.
Yeah, based on the understanding, they brought a scanner. I never saw it. We didn't go to their room because they mainly were working from the weekends and things like that. But I know there was a scanner because the secretary even mentioned that there was a scanner that they brought. They brought their own equipment basically.
Okay. But weren't the commissioners concerned about the scanning? I, I'd imagine that the Commission of Inquiry had quite the volume of documents that it needed to go through.
Right.
And perhaps some of them would be sensitive, considering the nature of the investigation or the inquiry. We were inquiring into a president and his close associates, and a president that was in power for 22 years. It's quite the number of time and quite the volume of documents. There might have been sensitive documents, or at least confidential documents. Did they just, were they given the leeway to have access to all the documents that the commission had access to?
Yes, the agreement they had was to scan all the exhibits that had been admitted as at the date they came.
Okay.
So they were to scan, and they had secretariat staff also that were to stay with them throughout the process. So they were to scan all the information, and then the understanding we also had was that they're also going to use the part that relates to be able to, I think they were going after to get access to the property in the US and so on. Some of it would be needed for that.
Okay.
Yes, so that was the essence. But they were assigned with staff. I can't remember how many, but they were assigned with staff to help them with anything, yes. But they were to digitize everything, which they did, and we were provided with that.
And how long were they at the commission for, and when did they arrive? Was it towards the end?
Yeah, they arrived like like maybe around July, August, that sort of time, if I remember correctly. It was like summertime, rainy season time, that they were there. They were not there for long because we thought the exhibits we had were plenty, but they were able to do it within 3 to 4 days. Yeah, so they did it within a very short space of time.
And they scanned everything, as far as you know.
They scanned everything because we needed it to be able to write the reports. So they broke it down into 3 folders, which was Gambia 1, Gambia 2, and Gambia 3. Yes.
And after they were done with the scanning, they did provide the digital copies to the commission as well.
Yes, the commissioners had, obviously chairperson is not IT savvy, but I know I had, because we had to make reference to, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, but we used to tease him about that as well, and he would laugh, oh, it's not my generation. So, but I requested for that because going through, it's easier to manage than hard copies.
Okay.
Then I can work at home as well. And I know Commissioner Sen also had the digital copies. The secretariat also should have kept the master file.
Okay.
Yes.
It should have been with the secretariat.
Yes.
What happened with the equipment they brought, the scanners? Were they left behind?
No, I don't know. Because for me, I assume that they just carried it all back.
Okay.
But I think the investigator did ask whether they shred, and I said, I don't know anything. I cannot even tell you what they look like. Yes.
What about the shredder and shredding of documents at the end of?
I know, like us, the commissioner's room, we had like a pretty small portable shredders.
Okay.
That you would, because like I said, we had a working office. So we would even draft our own letters. We didn't wait for the secretary to draft for us. We will do our own. And if it's not what we want, we'll shred it.
Okay.
So at the end, like I know I didn't go with any of my documents. I didn't want to keep hard copies. So in that case, then they shred it because they already have the exhibits at the secretariat. That's the assumption, yes. But then in terms of how they packed and what they were doing afterwards, I don't know. Because by the time we submitted our reports, we left them there. I think they were there weeks after trying to pack up.
Okay. All right. So as far as you know, when it came to sharing, it's the one you had in your office.
Yes, for me, that's it. Because I remember the secretary asked me, Miss Sarah asked me, can I destroy your documents? And I said to her, yeah, they're just exhibits. I don't need them. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
No worries.
That's all the questions I have for the witness for the time being. I can hand over now to the committee.
Thank you so much, Council. Miss George.
Yes, please.
Yes, so we will still have more questions from the high table. I'm sure members are also prepared to ask questions. So I just wanted some clarification on a few things. Although I know Council Diba did ask those questions, but I want to know, like, the setup and the commission. You know, like you said, you have the commissioners, the investigators, the secretariat, and of course the legal, where investigators are under. So how typically do you have, how does communication evolve around, you know, the commission? How, because normally what we know is communication should come from the secretariat to the commissioners. Was that the case when everything was happening there?
Yeah, in some cases it did. In some cases also, some communication will come from the legal team. Like, for example, your daily work plan, they would prepare it, goes through to the secretary, and then the secretary will now bring it to the commissioners for us to look at. If we had any views, then we would share it. The secretary at times also will generate, we call it internal memos, where they will raise internal memos and then circulate through. If the
Yeah, go ahead.
if the commissioners wanted to do anything specifically, then the secretary will act on our behalf to route it through to who it needed to be routed through, which is particularly the legal team or the secretary itself, because we never dealt with investigators directly.
So were there instances where communication passed through to the commissioners without going through secretariat, between legal, the lead counsel and secretariat? Communication goes through to commissioners without the involvement of the order? Because sometimes if the lead counsel is supposed to give you information as commissioner, sometimes I think the secretariat should be copied as well with the information. Is that all right?
Yes. And I do believe that most time that I cannot remember, maybe there's something I've missed, but the secretary would have been copied on what's going on. Yes, because we wouldn't hold meetings without our secretary. So they usually will jot down, because you take notes. I know I am one also that have my notebooks. I do write dates, but not consistently. Yes. So, but we would insist, and I know that's why I made the statement that the chairperson was very particular about the secretary being present when we would have meetings.
All right. I was just going to do a follow-up question on what Council Ka asked about the FTI, the forensic auditors.
Sure.
From the evidences, were they paid for the service that they've rendered, or even though they said they were coming to help you? How was that the case?
Based on the understanding I had, they were paid, but I think by Ford Foundation or something. I think they said they had negotiated that already. So we were not to, Gambia government was not to pay anything or anything of the sort. But I understand that they had already negotiated that, if I remember, with Ford Foundation. Yes.
That was earlier negotiated before.
Yes, was even before they came. It was not discussed. This was just information that was passed on.
So commissioners don't know anything about the payment of the forensic auditors.
Yes, what they agreed to pay them, we are not privy to. We are not privy to that. Because the understanding or the statement is that, with everything the country has gone through, the interest was there, the support was there to, I guess, to uncover things. So they were able to negotiate that agreement. Yes, that was the understanding we had.
All right, fine. I had a follow-up question, but I think that one you've clarified enough. So yes, honorable.
For providing those answers. I think probably have only one question.
Sure.
When the lead counsel asked you about evaluators, how they were recruited. Your answer was, as commissioners, you have no hands in the recruitment. I want to ask, who is in charge of the commission in case of anything?
The chairperson. We have the chairperson and the commissioners. Why I said we don't negotiate with the valuer, for example, or auctioneer or something, because we'd always ensure that the secretary is also part of the negotiation. So the secretary should, together with lead counsel, deal with that, and then the secretary would advise us that, oh, we agreed at a fee of X or at a fee of Y.
Okay.
So then they will notify us of that. Yes. And
So
then we'd be,
okay, go on. Go
sorry.
on.
And then we'd be given the contracts, because we always insisted on there being the process being formalized. Yes, but then we didn't just leave it with one party to negotiate with the people concerned. Yes.
So in that case, in terms of responsibility, if you are advised, the commission is the ultimate authority that will do the approval.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, yeah. Ms. George, in your statement on number 8,
Okay.
with regards to the call that caused the halting of the sales,
Yes, yes.
when was Kurang called? Was he called after the call, or was he called when the letter was sent to you?
Sorry, can you just repeat? I didn't hear your question.
Kurang.
Yes.
When did the chairman call him? Did he call him after the call that you received, or did he call him when the letter arrived?
No, he called him after the call.
After
Immediately
the call.
after the call from OP, then he called him.
When Kurang received the call, did he immediately halt the sales, or did he continue with the sales?
No, he halted. He did halt, and then he came back to the commission. Because this was, we had finished the morning session at that time. So it was, and we had broken up for lunch. So it was at that time that the call came in. So after that, then that's when chairperson also called Mr. Kurang. So he was back in the commission. Yes, after that. Back at the commission, sorry.
And when Kurang came back, did he explain to you the way he was conducting the sales?
Yes, he came to our chambers, the commissioner's chambers, and he explained what had transpired from his own angle. So he did explain, and then chairman also explained why, the rationale, the call, and then the rationale why we had said to also stop, so that he also is in the picture fully, and we have a discussion. So we did have a discussion on that.
And what was the outcome of the discussion?
Well, he wasn't happy, like I said before. He wasn't happy with the sale being stopped, because he felt that we should have carried on with it. But chairman said, let's allow them. That was the reason. Let's allow them some time to give a proposal, and then afterwards we will restart. But if no proposal comes, then we will definitely restart again.
Major, you made mention that when council asked you about the interference of government, when you were called to halt the sales, will you agree with me that yes, government interfered in the sales, but the commission also failed in their responsibility by allowing it to happen without doing the right procedures?
I wouldn't say the commission failed in its procedure.
In this case?
In this case, no, I would not say that, because I think that we followed procedures. They put a proposal forward. We considered, and then we restarted after some time. So I would not say it failed. I don't want to use that word.
What would you say? If the government interfered, which was wrong, how about your action by following the government's order to say you are halting immediately?
No, but I think what I said was that, yes, I feel that they had ample time prior to put their proposal forward, which they did not do. We listened to them. Yes, it can be seen as some form of interference, but I still feel that we gave them a chance, and the commission did not fail in its mandate on that.
Ms. George, during the second sale, Did government write to you to proceed, or you just took it upon yourself to proceed with the second sales?
No, the commission took it upon itself to carry on because we did not receive any proposal from government. So afterwards, we said we cannot wait any longer. So we will go back to what we wanted or what the commission had decided to do.
So this is where I'm coming from. Government wrote to you for you to halt, and you halted. Now you took it upon yourself to restart the sale again without
Yes.
communicating to government.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to explain. That they gave a reason.
Who gave a reason?
OP gave a reason.
Okay.
Yes, they said that they wanted they felt the tractors could help with subsistence farming, which Chair is also very keen on that. So some of us definitely said no, we should carry on because before the public notices were out there for 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks running, of the sale. But then we decided to say, okay, stop it for now with the intention that, and based on the call, they were going to submit something. We assumed there and then. It did not come. So we just said then we cannot also wait. We did not go back to say we've not received any communication from you or anything of the sort. We just proceeded. So we put it in the newspapers for 2 weeks again running, and then it started again.
And then when you started, there was no call from government to say you halt again.
There was no communication to that effect. Nothing.
Okay, and then in number 9 of in your statement also, you made mention about the issue of conflict of interest between Kurang and then Miss Ben Suda.
I just want to. I don't have my statement in
The
front
issue
of me. Sorry.
Yes.
I cannot recall. Yes, so I just want to.
Number 9. You have a statement.
Yeah, you can provide a statement.
Alleging conflict of interest.
Yes, please go on. Yes, I've read it. Yes.
So the commission took it up upon themselves to resolve the case between two of them.
No, for this particular case, when it came, because after the sales, then there were subsequent correspondence that came, which included this conflict of interest and so many, and I think other correspondence. It was a top. So I remember distinctly because the chair felt that Mr. Kurang did not give him the opportunity he did not come forward and bring his concerns, which he feels that as the chair he should have done. So he felt that by Mr. Kurang just writing the letter, copying, circulating it to many other people, you're not giving him the chance to be able to deal with the issue internally. So it's like there were too many things happening all at once, if I put it that way. So this issue of conflict, it was never, because it got to the point where it's out of our hands, because then lead counsel responded. It just became, it's one after the other.
So the tap means many letters were coming in and out.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Yes, because those were interesting times.
They were interesting times.
Interesting times, yes. Which could have been avoided.
And you had to judge between both of them.
No, well, I think the chair. I don't want to take the chair's role, but yes. But that was one of the key things that the chair mentioned, because he felt that it was not something that was brought to his attention, and he felt slighted, if I use that word. Yes.
Miss George, Keba Bojang.
Yes, please.
Was he working directly under you?
No, he was a secretariat. He was under the secretariat.
Under the secretariat. The time he called you with regards to the reserve price and then want to sell under the reserve price, why didn't he call the immediate boss? That was Miss Sad.
The secretary, exactly, because it's something that I also asked him, and he said he had tried to call the secretary, and she wasn't picking up.
Did you call them and try to confirm whether he was trying or whether he was reachable?
Yeah, because I spoke to Miss Sarah after, and then she said that she didn't see any call, according to what she said. So
And he did not call back Keba to confirm from Keba. Or
I don't.
was it the day before or the very day that Keba called you?
No, I think Keba called me a few days into the sales.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I cannot even remember the day he called or anything. But I know he called me. I definitely remember having that conversation because I said they're breaking protocol. We don't deal with them directly. Yes.
But did Keba make any sales that were below the reserve price during the time that he called? Yes.
Yes.
Honorable, sorry, Chair, for intruding. Use the last name of Keba. Keba what? Please.
I'm not saying Honorable Keba. I said Keba. So when I say Honorable Keba,
No, for
Keba
the purpose-
Bojan. Keba
Thank you.
Bojan.
Good.
That's fair enough. Yes.
I'm not the only Keba in the Gambia. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yes, I believe that there were sales because after they come back with the report, we would give their reports to accountants to vet, if I use that.
So there were sales under the reserve price.
Yes, there were some sales that, and some of them we felt looking at the asset, the sales proceeds, it was low. So it was even a concern that was raised at then because we said, how come you're not able to generate? Because for me, what I know with open bidding, and they are not damaged assets. So you expect people to be vigorous in the bidding. So, but they kept saying that the assets were damaged, that they were this, and so these were the tricky. But I do know that definitely concerns were expressed about when you look at the asset vis-a-vis what was realized.
Was there any action taken against Kebab because he didn't listen to you when you advised him to wait until the commission gets together before they proceed with the sales?
No action was taken on them because I recall as the commissioners we discussed it together, and we expressed concern, but then they kept saying that the assets were this, the assets were that. So, but there was no further action taken on them. No.
With regards to the work plan that was to be developed by both you and then the FTI group, was that work plan sent to you? Did you put your input in it as commissioners?
No, FTI did not. We did not ask for a work plan from it. It was those from Homeland Security.
Homeland Security, exactly.
Yes, so we mentioned after we met the introductory meeting with them, we requested from lead counsel that they should share be it a plan or an aid memoir of what the objective of their visit was, so that we would also know. But then the email that came back was that they're here to digitize the exhibits. That was the specific objective of the exercise, because they also needed some of it because they are following up on the property in the US. Yes.
Who was in control of the former president's accounts,
Bank account?
bank accounts?
That was not the commission.
Within the commission?
No, that was not. We did not manage any of the accounts of the former president.
But there was an issue that was raised within the commission members of an account in the Caribbean?
Caribbean? No, I don't remember Caribbean coming up. I know there were assets of which we knew that we did not know all of the assets out there. But I know that they talked about Morocco, Senegal, US, but the Caribbean, I am not aware of that one. Yes, I am not aware of that.
The issue did not come up.
No, I don't ever remember hearing that one. Yes.
Because I mean the secretary made mention of it when he was here, that there was an account in the Caribbean that was identified by the lead counsel, in which there were some payments that were made.
No, I don't recall that. I don't recall that. But what we knew was that there would be accounts that we do not know of, because we knew that. And then at one point, I know that we were talking to the then Attorney General of having how do you call those people that can investigate on your behalf to know what is out there. But then they said due to funding, it couldn't proceed, so we couldn't go ahead with that. Yes, but I know that topic definitely came up. There were email exchanges to that. that effect to get that, so that we will know everything out there, so that one can go after that. But they said due to funding, that would be a challenge.
Do you know the guy who introduced FTI to the lead council?
No, I cannot. I cannot recall. I cannot recall. I cannot recall.
Members, they were writing letters. Were they writing direct to the commission, or they were writing the letters to the lead council?
Yeah, it was lead council, and then we were copied. We were on copy.
They were writing the commission to the lead council.
Yes,
And then
because they will write the email, and then we are copied on the email, and then the introductory letter was sent as an attachment.
Was that normal? Is it a normal procedure to write to the lead council when the chair is around, available?
Yeah, because what we always, for me, it's one of the things that I always asked about commissions of inquiry. Because I think we needed to understand how it operates. And the explanation, I remember we had lengthy working sessions on this, where it's explained that the investigators usually would work under the lead
Chair.
counsel.
Okay.
So they take the lead. Even when it decides on witnesses coming forward and everything, they take the lead. What we should, so that our independence is protected. So this was always because we said sometimes the lines are a bit blurry, but the explanation given is that always this is the case. That is how it is, which I feel can be tailored, I think.
Madam, with regards to the cattle sales, that was not under you. Before it was assigned to the sheriff, was inventory taken by the commission?
Yes, Mr. Kurang definitely did an inventory, and he went with the livestock people, because he sent an email to that effect, that they had done it in each area. They put the assets, the cattle that they had tagged, and also in some areas they had difficulty, because I think it was difficult for them to catch here, to be able to tag the cattle. So he made a report of that, and he shared that with us. Yes.
Did the sheriff submit that report to you, to the commission?
No.
They not
We never had anything, because I remember it came up at meetings where we requested the secretaries to follow up for the outcome of the reports, but we never had, up to when we were writing these volumes, we never had any report.
So you had nothing about the cattle?
Nothing about the cattle sale.
I think. Thank you, madam. It's all right, Chair.
Okay. I don't know if you can help. You have questions?
Yes, I have, but if he's coming, he can.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. George. I would start with the FTI consulting. In your explanation, you did indicate that, they were introduced to the lead counsel by someone
Yes.
who you cannot recall. So I want to ask, was there any letter of engagement between the commission or the government and FTI consulting?
I am not aware of that. I am not aware of that. I've never seen a letter of engagement. I think MOJ were also in the loop on that. But in terms of even who introduced, I don't even think we were ever told who introduced FTI to us. Yes, so I'm not aware of that. Yes, but in terms of an LOE, no, sorry, letter of engagement. I'm abbreviating there. I've not seen that. No, it's just the introductory letter they sent, followed up by another letter that they detail out what they wanted to do. Yes.
Before the engagement of FTI, at the level of the commission, did you guys do any needs assessment where you realize that there are some capacity gaps which might warrant in the services of some experts, specifically in the field of accounting?
No, there was no needs assessment done. What we realized was that because of the level of accounts, the companies we had to look at, we realized that we needed accountants. So we had private accountants. We even had the National Audit Office also assisting us as well. So my view is locally you have people that are also equally qualified. They should be able to do the work. So if it's forensic, then there has to be something that we do not know, that is not available to us. Yes, but if it's in terms of what was submitted, yeah, I think it could have been done. Maybe, but if you say to help because of time, that's another factor. Yes.
In this case, you've been an accountant, a chartered accountant for that matter, and you are also been privileged to have gone through the draft report that they gave you. Do you believe that in hindsight, there is something peculiar in that report that could not have been done locally?
Yeah, I did not feel there was anything from the financial side of it. I did not feel there was anything that couldn't be done. Because like I said, there were so many gaps that I know I had to sit down again to do. Which if you're saying that you're helping, then I think we shouldn't be in that position where one has to go back to close off those gaps. Because I think if there were information that were outstanding, if it had been requested, I believe the institutions concerned would have provided the information. Yes. So for me, I felt this is something, because if you're going to give us something from, you say, internationally, then you should be able to close off on what you're doing. Yes.
Finally, on that issue, why do you think that FTI Consulting were really engaged?
For me, now I'm going from my own personal perspective. I don't know, because I feel to some extent it crossed my mind, is it that they're here to gather information? I don't know. Because I just felt, I couldn't really tell what value you're getting for the service. And for me, it's important to know what you're getting for the service. Yes. I'm not doubting their credentials, of course not. But I'm just saying that there might have been another motive. Now, this is my personal view.
Okay.
Yes.
I do appreciate your explanation on the fact that even for you, the commissioners, you were trying to grasp into the details as to how commissions work, and that the lead counsel have to lead the investigation team. Why am I bringing this? Because I am going to ask you, when FTI was finally engaged, and you people realized that the need was not there, was there anything that the committee could have done so that we can tap into the local expertise or do things differently?
Because when, if I understand you correctly, when FTI came in, apparently one of the things that I recall Mr. Kurang sharing was that they were supposed to have done some training for people on the ground. But that fell through. I think maybe they said there was a misunderstanding or something. So that did not go through. Because what I wanted to do, I remembered saying this, was that even if they're here, they have, let's say they have other expertise that locally we do not have. The idea would have been to pair them with the local component so that we also benefit from the process. So, but again, this was not done. Yes. So because I felt if you're coming with something, we should be able to pair so that we're able to gather. We all learn from it. Yes. That's the essence. Yeah.
I did say finally before, but now we say
it's
finally,
okay.
finally,
It's
on
all
the
right.
same issue. Why do you think NAWEC and GAM Petroleum were selected from all the list of companies that the committee had to investigate on?
Yes, because the reasoning or rationale provided at the time were because they were large accounts, and complicated, that the complexity of it. So they wanted somebody else to look at it. Yes, but those are institutions here. They're unique by itself, but I feel it can be broken down. Then you piece it back together. Yes, if you're auditing a client or looking into specifics. Yes.
Were they able to do that at the end of the day?
That's why I said if you look at what was the report that was generated, I didn't see what was. It was to me, it's like routine. Yes. So you're looking. If you say if you want to do an audit, you will look at cash, you will look at bank. So I'm not seeing what is. If I read their articles of association, I will see what is there. So for me personally, I couldn't see what is provided, because when I look at the draft, it's like you're giving me more work to go back to look at. Yes.
Maybe for the last time, I will take you from your previous response when you were speaking from a personal perspective. And you did indicate that perhaps someone can believe that they were here to gather information. So, from the abundance of your own experience and having known that you have interacted with those accounts, is there anything peculiar about NAVEC and GAM Petroleum or something consistent in both of them that might be of interest?
Well, at some point, personally, what I thought was that the people behind GAM Petroleum, connected persons, I felt that maybe this is something that they were looking into specifically because the connected persons in GAMPET are the ones who also feature in NAWEC. So I felt that this is something they had an interest in, which obviously we also have to look at. But I felt maybe this was of concern to them. Yes. So when I'm talking specific here, I'm looking at the Bazis, Mohammed Bazis and those ones. Yes. Because with GAMPET, NAWEC, that was their terrain.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the second team of the Americans.
Sure.
My first question was going to be, do you have a name for them? But I think you gave that response to Honorable Sar when you said the team from Homeland Security.
Yes.
So where was the commission satisfied with the response from the Real Council when she said that they were here purposely to scan documents and make digital copies?
Yes, I think at that time we did not think anything outside of it, because the thing is, when you work with people, you have to have element of trust. So we did not think anything of it, but we knew that I think no one needs to tell you. Once they're getting involved, you know that there's something that they're looking for. So we knew that there were properties or assets in the US, which is one. But what else, one doesn't know. But we know that definitely the amount of information that is there, there's definitely something that they're interested in. Yes.
Yeah, the main reason I asked you this question is during your response to lead counsel, Ajay, you did say that it is not just to scan documents. So I was going to ask you to add context to that.
Okay.
Perhaps you can do that now.
Yes, because I think the interest to scan, I know it's easier for them also to go through than hard copies, because sometimes the way the information came, it's difficult to go through. So when it was scanned, it was even easier for us to navigate our way around it to some extent, which we knew that they needed that because we could see that in the correspondence also, that they needed that to be able to do their legal wranglings in the US. So we knew that they needed to get access to the information for that. But then what else they're there for? There's always that what else, which they will never tell you. But this was our thinking.
You did indicate that it took them 4 days to complete the scanning process.
Roughly about, yes.
Did they stay longer than that?
No, they finished and then they left. Yeah, because we were assuming that they would be with us for at least over a week. So we were quite surprised that they were able to scan the information pretty quickly because they came as a team.
Did they ever get back to you with regards to the follow-ups they were supposed to do on the former president's properties which were in US?
Uh, I cannot recall. I cannot recall because I know that even from Gambia here, there was a team that went to the US to go and fact finding and all of that. But then subsequently, whether the Homeland, I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't recall that. But I do know that, of course, eventually it was in the media that they'd been able to get secure the asset. Yes.
This final question will be a general one.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Abiosseh, currently when we talk about the assets of the former president,
Mm-hmm.
many a times what comes to mind will be his vehicles, landed properties, the cattle, the various communists and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you being a professional in your own field and having that expertise, is there any question that have been lingering in your mind ever since you completed that work, which might venture into the unknown with regards to his properties?
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Sure.
Yes.
For me, I was interested in the assets that are being sold because I felt we've done so much work, we've put in so much effort into it. And I know in any process there are gaps. But I know that a lot of work was put into it. So it's one of the things that I always said is like, how are they going to deal with the assets that are disposed of? Because I said, for anything, for what it's worth, we did the work. For me, I wanted to know what was realized or what happened, at least to give us some explanation for what it's worth. Because like I said, the cattle, we didn't have any idea. You will just see things being reported. The aircraft, we had not, you just hear or something. The heavy mineral composite, you also just hear or something. So which we felt that, it's a totality. So it's good to see how everything comes together to know what is realized and what happened and what did not happen. For me, these are questions that I have had, and we want closure because I feel you have to have closure, because it's not fair to make findings against people and then certain things also occur. Then it's like the entire process is flawed.
Thank you very much for that response. Chair, I just have one final question. Earlier on, Council Diba did present AMK5 to you. Maybe I can give you my own document.
Okay.
We will not make specific references to it. I'm
Okay.
just going to ask a general question. Okay, do you have it?
Yes, I have it here.
Okay. I want to know whether this particular letter was copied to the commissioners as well. Did this come to your attention?
Yes, we did see this.
Did you equally have a discussion over it?
Yes, we had discussions about these letters, but these were letters that it was copied through. It's like there's a page or something. Yes, you see, it was copied to. The circulation was wide. That's why I made the mention that the chair felt that he did not give him the chance, as the head, to address it, but rather it's circulated, which now it becomes outside his purview. Yes.
Okay. The main reason I'm bringing it up is
Sure.
to ask whether at any moment in time you did consider the merits of the different points that he brought up, whether they were exhaustively discussed, and at the end of the day, a fair conclusion was drawn. I understand the submission that the chair felt at some point that he was being insubordinated. And that's fair. Anyone, any other person, even myself, I would have felt the same way. But at the end of the day, something was presented. So where they discussed, and then for the commission itself to look at how each of those points will affect their operations, or even if at all they had merit in them.
Yes, because we definitely talked about some of the issues in terms of conflict of interest. It is something that we always would bring to discussion, like particularly sometimes even if certain witnesses, we based on evidence we see, we don't see them being called, we would request that they come in. So we knew that some of it, and in terms of even the planes and everything sold by finance, because this was even somebody who even called telling us about it, that they were instructed that finance would handle it. So we knew that it was not a conversation we ever had with finance department. And it was Mr. Kurang who even said they went there and they were informed by, I think, the then PS or something, that finance, they were going to deal with it based on an agreement they had. Yes. So these things were discussed, and but obviously, you know, you don't have the evidence to back some of them up. Yes. So it's just the planes we know that it's sold by finance, but in some terms of some of the others, we don't know, because it's like word versus word. You don't have the, and for me, like from an audit perspective, I have to see something to be able to conclude on it.
Thank you very much. Chair,
No problem.
back to you.
Thank you, Honorable. Quickly, Honorable Sir, you want to clarify something before Honorable Janneh will come in?
Madam Abiosseh, on the issue of FTI, with regards to their funding or payment that they were receiving, why was the commission not interested to know where these funds were coming from?
Like who was paying FTI?
Yes, and how were they paid? Was the commission aware of those things?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We were informed that they were going to be paid by FTI.
That-
FTI, they were going to be paid by, sorry, Ford Foundation.
Yes.
Yes. But because we obviously knew that in terms of payment, the commission doesn't pay anyone. MOJ would have to agree on if we're engaging anyone to pay. So that was not an option for us even to reach out to these guys in the first place. That's what I was saying, because locally we feel we can do it.
Because my concern here is about Ford Foundation paying FTI on behalf of Gambia government, because the way I will take it, because there was a reason why they were here. I mean, there was no request from the government, they would not have been here. Or no, there was no request from the commission, they would not have been here. But the commission said yes, they can come on board. This is why they were paying them. So the interest is, why did the commission not follow up to know how much they were paid and how much was spent on them?
No, the commission did not know what they are paid, and because that's what I said. How they came in, from what I know, is they were introduced to the commission, and they met. They were in contact with the lead counsel, so we came in to be. That's why I said when it comes to how a commission should be operated, there's a bit of that blurry line. How things come to our attention at some point.
I think it would have been a very big concern for the commission or the chair to definitely make a follow-up to know how things we are going, because according to Kurang's statement, it's like they were receiving $1,500 per hour.
Yeah, maybe there's something that was shared, but I cannot recall from the, and I don't want to quote something that I do not remember, to be honest.
Thank you, Honorable. Just to be fair to them, I think what she said is right. As a commission, they were not informed about the issue of the forensic auditors, for example. Yeah, lead counsel was in contact with them. I am pretty much sure maybe lead counsel also is working with someone, perhaps with the forensic auditors. But if the information did not go go to the commissioners, I mean, as to take a decision whether, in fact, the commission need the service of the forensic auditors, then it will be difficult for them to take a decision. I think that explanation is clear. Yes. Honorable Jami, can we move, please?
Okay. Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Miss George.
That's fine.
No, I find it hard to pronounce that one. Don't
Why?
bring me
You
this.
should pronounce no.
Uh-huh, you
Abiosseh,
see?
yes.
So let's do with the George.
You can call me Miss George. That's
Yes,
fine.
and
Yes.
you know, partly the George are my uncle, so it's easier with me to say George. I would start from the bottom, Miss George.
Okay.
In your statement, you did said it were that is clause 20. You said it were the commission members and the lead counsel who endeavored to write the report from volume 1 to 9. If I may ask, what was the purpose of the secretariat and why were they exempted from writing the report?
The secretariat was not exempted. It was in terms of the capability to be able to write the report. So, like I said, initially we thought we would have report writers to assist, but it became clear that was not the case. So, dealing with the secretariat, we knew what could be done and what could not be done. This is from working together for so long. So,
Are you telling this committee that members of the secretariat that were hired were incompetent to actually do the work?
no, I'm not saying they're not competent, but when it comes to report writing, I think this is not something that a lot of people can do. So the ones they had there, because we didn't hire them, these came from MOJ and whichever ministries that they were coming from.
But they're still paid to do a work
Yes.
for the commission.
Yes, and most of them.
One would expect when they were hiring the members of the secretariat, competence and capability was going to be something that is going to be considered,
Sure.
reflecting on the process of the work, knowing fully that it will include report writing. Why was that an oversight?
Why was it an oversight from whose angle?
I would in fact say from the commission.
But the commission were not responsible for choosing the people that came under the secretariat.
But the commission was making decisions as to who they think they can work with and who they think they couldn't work with.
Honorable,
I-
if I may comment, please, just to set the records. You know, the secretariat is appointed by MOJ. The secretariat, the commissioners are appointed by the president, and the secretariat is an arm appointed by MOJ to do a work. Now, if they are incompetent to do the work, that should be the responsibility of MOJ to take care of, but not the commissioners directly. If you have me.
Chair,
Yeah, I think that's
Chair, allow me, this is very simple. When the commission realized they couldn't work with the then secretary of the commission, they made their points, they made their recommendation to MOJ.
I think you're talking about issue of report
No,
writing.
even if I'm talking about the report writing, now I'm also aligning it to how the secretary was sacked from his position. And following the reports, it is clearly stated, even by the former justice minister before us, that he acted because the members of the commission did said to him that they cannot or they couldn't work with the then secretary, which influenced the decision of the Ministry of Justice to really relieve the then secretary from his position. So for me,
All right, no, it's okay.
having commissioners and also the lead counsel presiding over a report and in fact writing a report. What really influenced that? Was there anything that the commission was trying to hide?
I think to answer your question, you made a statement that the former Attorney General said, the commissioners said they couldn't work with the then secretary. And I think a question was asked before. And I said to you that I do not believe that the commissioners had anything to say to that. When we were invited to the Attorney General's office, we were informed. And for me, it is not about you asking me my opinion. A decision had already been taken. I felt the AG at that time was just informing us. Because the words he used was that the situation was not tenable. So if you are saying that we took a decision to sack the former secretary, that I do not agree to that because no one said that.
Ms. Joy,
Yes.
this is not something that I said. This was something said by the former Minister of Justice, that he acted simply because he was informed by the members of the commission that they couldn't work with the then secretary. If only otherwise, like you have rightly said now that, or earlier that, you were not a party to that and you didn't subscribe to that, would that mean what the former Minister of Justice informed this committee was inconsistent?
Okay, I'm going by what was discussed at the meeting. And as far as I recall, this is what transpired. Maybe he had a prior conversation with the chair, because I am aware of there are times when he has done that in the past. But at that meeting, it was not even a long meeting. What we're informed that a decision had been taken because the situation was not tenable. So if the former AG says otherwise, I cannot speak on his behalf. I can only speak what I know.
Ms. George, let's get back to your previous response, which you said, after interacting with the members of the Secretariat, you realize there was a gap in terms of having personnel who could write a report. At what point in time in the process of your work do you realize this gap?
Yeah, this was towards the latter part, because in around September, because before we even had that, we had various meetings about the format of the report, how the report should be broken down into volumes, what it should cover. So we had several working sessions from that, even from the first secretary. So we had various meetings or discussions on that. But in terms of the Secretariat staff, the way the Secretariat was, we knew that it was not going to be possible for them to write, and we were being put under a lot of pressure to complete. So we had to take it upon ourselves to write the report. It's either that or nothing happens. So the Secretariat staff would assist us in terms of when we need information, they will bring it to us. But then that was practically what happened. There's nothing to hide. These are evidence-based. There's really nothing to hide on that.
So was part of your responsibility meant for you to write a report in between the members of the commission and the Secretariat, who were responsible for the report writing?
Yeah, because there's no clear, that's what I'm saying, there's no clear where it's documented. Based on our working sessions, it is discussed and said that usually they have a report writing team that will write the report under the Secretariat. This was not there. So in that situation, then what do you do? So we have to come up with something to be able to deal with that.
So is it right to say there was no organized structure within the commission in order to determine who was responsible for what, or who was supposed to execute what and at what level?
No, I wouldn't say that there was no structure. There was a structure.
Then what was wrong?
No, but it's I think honorable. What you're trying to put words in my mouth, and I don't want you to put words in my mouth.
No, this is why
Yes.
I give an open
Yeah.
question,
So
ma.
so you have to allow me to also land. Um, what I am saying is there was a secretariat, and I know that even the then secretary, Mr. Kurang, developed an organogram. So he had his team, which you had secretaries, you had those that were doing copying, those were to be responsible for exhibits. They split into tasks. But even when it came to even writing of letters, sometimes, like I said, we had a working office. We would draft our own letters and give it to them because at the same time we also knew, because otherwise you're going back and forth, which we did not have that time. So when it came to the point, we all realized that there's no report writers, because we were initially thinking that people would be hired. That's the understanding we had, that you'll have report writers to write the various volumes, and then obviously we will review for factual consistencies because we did the work. We realized that it was not going to happen. So then that is when the reports were shared based on people's competencies. And then obviously it's reviewed and so on. That is exactly what happened.
Okay, we can progress.
Yes, please.
In your statement, again in clause 18, you mentioned that funds were appropriated or transferred to the TRRC and the CRC.
Yes.
Already we knew how much was transferred to the TRRC. Can you inform this committee how much was weighed or transferred to the CRC and for what purpose, if you know?
I know there's correspondence to that effect, but I cannot remember the exact amounts from the top of my head. But I do know that the request came from Ministry of Finance to that they needed some money to set up the TRC and CRC. So the request came, and then the commissioners met over the letter that was sent to us. And I recall lead counsel was there as well. So we had a discussion on that. And I do remember even at that meeting, some of us did not agree with that, because some of us felt that the view is we should wait till the end. We transfer the entire sum in bulk, what is in the account, to government. So, but then the agreement at the end was that we give them what was requested. There's correspondence to that effect. I cannot remember, but I know they ended up taking from the dollar C and the dollar account that was being maintained.
And this happened at the same time, that is to transfer to the TRRC and the CRC.
Yeah, it was handled by, because the commission never handled the account.
No, I understand that,
Yes.
but the decision to make those transfers was at some point influenced by the commission,
Yes, yes,
right? Yeah.
yes.
So this is why I wanted to know whether these two transfers both happen at the same time.
Yes, because I know the accountant general sent confirmation afterwards of what they had done, transferring the monies.
Will it be right to say the TRRC and the CRRC both received the same amount?
No, I don't know.
You don't
I don't know how finance wanted to split it. We have no information on that. It was just a request for so much money.
Okay. Also, when you were responding to my colleague, you did mention about Mr. Bazi, who was a
Yes.
close associate of the former president.
Sure.
Do you have an idea, or do you know how much was found in his account? And also, what were some of the assets that were seized from him, including movable items?
This is Mr. Bazi, you mean? Yeah, in terms of the bank accounts, what is there? I don't know. I cannot, if I was to tell you a figure, I have no idea. But in terms of assets, I know he had shares. There were companies where he had a lot of shares. Um, but I don't know the full details of what he had.
Do you know if you own any property that is different from a company, per se, like a compound, for example?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Um, the minerals.
HMC.
Yes, you also talked about minerals when you were responding to my colleague. Could you inform this committee in terms of minerals, what was found with Mr. Bazi, especially the deposits that he left behind and other equipments that were related to the mining of minerals?
Yeah, in terms of the HMC, we had, from what I recall, we had limited information on that because I recall there was a letter that came in that HMC was identified, I think in Sanyang or something. And they wanted to dispose of it. I remember that it was even a letter from Ministry of Justice, on that. So that is when we even got to know of the HMC product. Yes, because we were not even aware of that initially.
Chair, I think it will be important to really obtain a statement from Bazi in relation to minerals, even though we don't have the time. We need to endeavor because looking at the report from the commission, it seems they have done very limited work around the minerals. And for us to be informed, I want to apply that we obtain a statement from Mr. Bazi in relation to the minings that he was doing.
All right, granted, we'll look into it as a committee. So,
Thank you. Also, in your statement, that is on clause 17, I'll be more of looking at your statement, ma.
Okay, no problem.
Yes. How do you agree to appoint an official from the UN volunteer to conduct a land valuation? How does it come about?
I think this individual was working together with the Ministry of Lands. He was at the Ministry of Land. That's what I understand, that they were like an understudy to help. So then when the request was made by the commission for assistance from the Ministry of Lands on these valuations, I know particularly Banjul and some others, yes. Then that is when this guy was part of the team together with other officials of Ministry of Lands.
Okay. So, in terms of expertise, is he evaluator?
Yes, I think that's why he was at Lands, because he was at Lands. They provided, he came with them. Yes.
He could be at lands on the basis of advising the government on policies without an actual expertise on land valuation. Because we also had a receiver who sat on that seat, who at some point we realized never relied on the valuation report made by the Janneh Commission, which I suspect the report was developed by this UN volunteer.
No, but based on the understanding we had, the guy is he's here on a technical expertise and he's a valuer. So that's the understanding we had, yes. Because there were detailed reports on each property that a valuation was done. They submitted valuation reports. So these should all be in the commission's documents. They definitely submitted for each property that was valued.
Because the next question, when that guy was appointed, then the commission wasn't in existence. That is Alpha Capital. So it wouldn't be fair to ask you
Yeah.
a question around that person because we realize he never used this report. And for us, you know, it creates more of doubt than clarity. Having a commission appointing or sourcing the expertise of an individual to do a valuation for them, and at the end of the day, that report was not heed to by a receiver. However, we can definitely progress. In paragraph 15 or clause 15, you talked about Augustus Prom and Co., the receiver, right?
Yes.
And I understand at some point the commission met with Mr. Prom to discuss on pricing or on the commission. Is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell us more? What was the discussion about? And also the outcome of the discussion in terms of renegotiating his commission.
Okay. So during the commission proceedings, we realized that these two hotels needed to be put under receivership. And the idea was floated of bringing somebody else. But then we also felt they already have been working on the receivership. So it's appropriate to also add these two, which we did. An order was given as well for them to act as the receiver manager for the hotels. So they would send reports and so on, progress reports. So the commission got information that Augustus Prom was paying itself 10% of the gross revenue per month.
Ask. Was he paying himself or there was a court order
No,
that
this
stipulates how much he was supposed to be paid percentage-wise? Can we distinguish these two?
Yes, there was a court order that said that they should be paid, I think, 10%, but that was for the properties that were identified under the court order. In this case, these properties were handed over to them by the commission. So the order that the commission gave did not stipulate the percentage, which should have been done at that time to come to an agreement. It was not done. So they paid themselves a 10%, which the commission was notified of. So the commission invited them for a meeting, which they attended. Now, during the meeting, it was put to them that they were paying themselves 10% of the gross commission, which we felt was high, and justification was made to support their action, which we felt was high. And then the right thing to do was to come back to the commission to ask to agree on the fees, which was not done. So they put a justification. So we still said we don't agree with that. And we gave, after the meeting, the commission wrote to them, giving them an offer. This was rejected by them in their subsequent letter. And so then another order came where it was the receivership was stopped and given to somebody else.
And why was that not done from the word go to clearly stipulate how much were supposed to be his commission?
Yeah, that's why I said it's an oversight. But if something is not done, doesn't mean that you should also pay yourself.
It was an oversight.
Yes.
But then the consequence of that oversight seems that Augustus Prompt was receiving $1 million per month as a commission. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what. It's roughly around that, I think. But I know
Roughly
that it
around what?
was. I cannot be specific per month what they will pay them, but I know it was based on 10% of gross revenue.
Miss George,
Yes.
can you look at the third line of your statement,
Yes.
paragraph 15?
Yes, I know I
Because
said
here you are
1
very,
million.
on your statement,
Yes.
you are very specific on the 1 million per month.
Yes. That's what we were told at that time.
Yes, so
Yes.
if you are saying you are not sure,
No, no, no. You know, it can be revenue. When you say gross, that's why I was very specific. If you say 10% of gross revenue, it depends on your sales. But then at the time of the meeting was roughly around 1 million. So that's why I put that there. And it's some of the questions, it's based on the way the questions are asked.
yeah, but this one
I'm being
is,
specific to you.
yeah,
Yes.
no, I'm not saying you are not being
Yes.
specific. If I have to be honest to you, I find you to be one of the most consistent witnesses that I actually interacted with.
Okay.
Not because you are sitting before me. I
Oh,
say
yeah.
things the way they are.
I like that. Yes.
So I think we should be able to progress. However, I believe, you cannot write A and also change it to B based on how questions are coming.
No,
I also have an issue on that.
no. I think that statement is not the right statement to make.
Yes, I think what she meant to say. 10% of the total revenue that they collected for the month. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
So now they can collect, let's say, 3 million or even 5 million a month, for example, and 10% of 5 million is what she's referring to. You understand? So it can be just 10%. I know she specifically mentioned 1 million. I understand that. But
Chair,
think
can
she
I
should-
help you again?
No, what I'm saying is,
No, let me just help you here.
no, no,
I always don't want you to speak
no, I'm referencing from what she is saying.
Yeah, so if you are referencing what she is saying, I would also appreciate if you can reference what she wrote.
No, I ask you, I said, is it 10% or is it 1 million?
No,
If she said it's 10%, I said 10% of the total revenue
No,
that they collected for the
no,
month.
in this situation, I'm not here to be asked. She is here to
No,
be
no,
asked.
I'm
This
trying
is
to-
why I'm asking her
Honorable,
to provide
no,
clarity,
honorable,
Chair.
honorable, there is a conversation. I'm trying to end the conversation. You said 1 million. That is.
This is
exactly what
even
you-
my point. This
Yes,
is what I
exactly.
don't want you to end
No.
when I'm definitely trying to get a fact out.
Honorable, I think we need to get this clear. You asked a question. You said she wrote 1 million, and she said 10% of the total revenue. So I'm trying to correct that to say, yes, 10% of anything that they collected for the month is what she's referring to.
Chair,
I think that is clear.
I'm not disputing to that.
No, honorable, don't do that, please.
No,
I think what I said is I have not said anything wrong. Don't do that, please.
Chair, I'm not saying you have said anything wrong. What I am saying,
No, but my intervention is not to stop you from asking the question. Please don't do that. What I said was very correct. I said 10% of.
you to ask her that question to provide us clarity. My mic is off. I will allow you to have that interpretation. Because I know what I am looking for. I definitely know what I am looking for. And I have read in between the lines. I'm not saying you are stopping me. My point here, honorable,